$223. This is GI Joburg, episode 223. We're getting down. We're flipping our Joes around. We're going from sweet to sour, sour to sweet. It's amazing. It's incredible. Welcome to everybody in the audience. Welcome to you, morning, day, or night. And welcome to the other people in the studio who are here with me. It is...
Steve, the usual suspects, and
Paul.
the police. Yes, Rob, thank you very much for introducing us, my friend. We're back. It's another week, and it's another episode of GI Joburg. Today, we have tasked ourselves with coming up with lists of figures and toys that we've changed our minds on, either for better or for worse. Toys that we never liked before and all of a sudden have taken a liking to, and toys that we did always like and now have soured on. Hence, sweet or sour, which I've established as a game that we used to play as children, and it clearly didn't make its way to Johannesburg. Is that right, Paul?
I'm pretty
Basically,
sure people
sweet or
played it.
sour
I
is-
just didn't do it.
Oh, yeah, because you just didn't associate with strangers. Anyways, sweet or sour is if you wave at a total stranger and they wave back, they're sweet. If they don't, they scowl at you or otherwise make some threatening gesture, they're sour. Rob, did you play this game?
It sounds familiar, although I think my mom was a lot more strict about me, waving at strangers than maybe your parents were.
I just think like it was something we played at traffic lights. When the car was stopped at the lights, and if you were in the back of a station wagon, you'd wave, and maybe they'd wave back, or maybe they'd honk their horn, maybe they'd ram the back of your car. Anyways, we're not talking about ramming cars or otherwise. We're talking about G.I. Joe, baby.
And also, I suppose, throwing into the whole mix there just a little bit is maybe your Christmas list. It is that time of the year. Mariah Carey has come out to usher in the new festive season, along with the Four Horsemen, and that is Boney M, Michael Bublé, and the other two people that do Christmas albums, who have since faded into obscurity. But it is upon us. The festive apocalypse has been brought near, and that means we're all excited to get mysterious toys in boxes, hopefully sometime in December, and hopefully our significant others and spouses and friends and family members are listening to this podcast so that they can get into ordering now to beat that shipping rush at the end of the year. So,
Good luck.
So with that said, sorry, I cut you off, Stephen. What was that you were gonna?
New shit, baby.
Boom,
Damn.
boom.
It arrived,
New
boys.
toys. What you gonna
Finally.
Tiger Force
Crotchless
Outback.
Nice.
The man, the legend, the kitty shirt. Yes, OG Tiger Force Outback is back in my possession, ladies and gentlemen. It was incredible. 2 weeks less. And it was untracked from Denmark to Australia, so clearly it can be done. And the shipping was only 11 US. That doesn't seem
Crikey.
right.
That's nothing.
Crikey. That's some
Did they arrive in
shipping.
like an envelope or something?
It arrived in a box, but like in true Ozpost style, they leave it at your doorstep. But in the case of a smallish box, they don't even do that. Like they just elastic band it to the fence post. Bizarre. Anyways, so this package was elastic banded to the fence post, and it was in a downpour. So
Oh my
basically,
goodness. So
like-
if you don't know that's a thing. Oh god.
I could poke my finger through the box. It had kind of reduced to like tissue paper. Anyways,
Oh.
fortunately, Outback was in a Ziploc bag, a nice sturdy one. Not the cheap shit, like the thick plastic Ziploc. And he's fantastic. I mean, as expected, both elbows had cracks, but I did test out my I don't know, my toy Poloi fix, where you just put a bit of super glue in there, very little, and then put in some filler, like something really fine, like I don't know. I think I use tapioca starch, but corn flour will do. And then you kind of just cement over that a little bit, and then you can kind of buff that down and nice and smooth. It just basically stops the crack from spreading and also fills in the cracks. So, I mean, if you really wanted to get handy and find a paint match, you could effectively blend it so that the crack disappears. But that's just taking a little too
Interesting.
far.
I didn't even know there was a thing. You can fix
Yeah, well,
cracks.
you can kind of make yourself sleep easier at night knowing that like they're not going to crack any further. Basically, you've stopped time. Anyways, guys, he's beautiful. As those of you watching the YouTube presentation will no doubt attest. Yeah, no, good toy. Legendary
man.
toy. The ultimate Outback, if you ask me. Anyone got some new shit?
I got some new shit I can talk about, but I think Rob was about to tell us something.
I was about to tell you I didn't get anything.
Oh no, that's tragic. That's
Sorry.
tragic.
It is tragic. It happens, week to week. I just kind of check the mailbox, and there's nothing in there, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's fine. I
Nothing-
made it through another week.
Nothing elastic bandaged to your fence
No, not at all.
in
no,
a
not at
downpour.
all. No packies in the rainy.
So
Wacky wacky.
I've been I haven't got any last time I did that unboxing. So I've been having a lot of fun with these guys, the Cobra infantrymen. And I'm busy on my because I opened them and I'm busy on an unboxing review of this figure at the moment. So after this podcast, I'll be finishing my edits on this and shooting some footage for the next figure that I received in that box for a review and experience and that whole thing. So this has been me. That's my new stuff. I haven't received anything, like new, but that's okay because I received a lot of cool new stuff in a big box from MCD. So that's awesome. So yeah, so you guys will see some of that. Like I was saying in the pre-game chat, I've got about an hour's worth of GI Joe content to unleash on the channel. So that's exciting.
Holy heck.
With another box coming in this coming week with some more GI Joe content that will be produced from that. So I'm super excited about that, and a little bit of Heberg content, which will be rad. So that's cool. So nothing new per se for me, but I have been scouring the toy shops for the new release of the He-Man figures, and I thought I'd take you guys on a quick GI Joe toy adventure. So. Suspicious horse. I love this thing. I saw this on the shelf and I just had to take a shot of this horse because it's like this. I love this. The look on this horse's face is like, "Are you masturbating?"
I'm not seeing the horse, bro.
Like,
Is that
I
is
know
that
you're doing
Bruder?
something. Yeah, it is Bruder, and I don't know. I just love that they do such conventional stuff. I love this UPS truck. Celia saw this and she just laughed. And she's like, "Oh yay, we could get you a UPS truck because you get so excited when you see the delivery vehicles." And I do get excited when I see delivery vehicles because I'm like, "Ooh, is that my FedEx truck? Ooh, is that like my Courier Aid truck?"
This is fascinating that you can do playtime where you ship things.
Yeah,
it
you can.
used to be like ambulances and cop cars and firefighters, but now you can expand to just doing a playtime where you load a truck full of stuff and then you deliver it to your other action figures.
Right, and you can have the forklift there for like extra, like for extra playtime fun. I think it's really great. It's like the new mundane tasks range from Bruder.
Preparing you for your later life.
But let's put on our GI Joe goggles for 2 seconds and look at
Whoa.
that truck and how you could convert that. Look at that dangerous Fanta orange shirt wearing maniac there. But like you could convert that into like some kind of mobile operations kind of center. You could, because it does open and it looks like it even opens on the side here. So that could be something fun and cool to play with for our customizing guys. So that was another thing.
Sorry, Paul. I've just found the how to add images to StreamYard, so I'm gonna troll you at every available opportunity.
Awesome.
Folks
Well,
listening
seeing
to
as
this podcast on a podcatcher don't know the fact that I'm just every time Paul puts up a different slide of a USPS toy by Brooder, I'm gonna give him TF Outback. Hey,
nice.
my God.
Well,
my
orange
God.
seems to be the theme, and I also saw this fantastic looking dump truck.
Holy
This
shit.
garbage truck.
This
Wow.
is-
This is something that like early 20s me would invest in heavily
Yeah.
because I just had money to burn and I wanted to build the world around my toys. So I would buy this stuff. I would totally be in on Brooder.
Yeah,
But,
this would be fantastic for playtime. I mean, you can reenact the opening sequence from Commando. I mean, that's cool.
I was about to say, but I mean, yes and no, Rob. This stuff is just really, really expensive set dressing. You know, like you are going to be super focused on your protagonists. This stuff just decorates the deep background. Like I've often thought about construction vehicles and stuff to have like a construction site battle, which typically involved Magneto, because Magneto is nothing if he doesn't have loads of metal objects to hurl around at the Hulk or Thor or the X-Men. So that's why, these kind of heavy duty vehicles were so intriguing to me. Not because I was going to ever play day-to-day, dump truck USPS guy. But yeah, now that you mention it, that scene in Commando where they step off the back and they just drill that dude, that's fantastic.
But yeah, I just see the customizing potential, and I look at it through the eyes of guys like Bart Simon and
Do you want to make more Dreadnought vehicles, Paul?
I do want to make some Dreadnought vehicles. But even like a dump truck just makes for such a cool. And there's Outback again.
Guys, look at that head sculpt. He just looks
It's beautiful.
so hard. And the white hair just makes so much sense to me. I'm sorry. Like, I know everyone else says, Outback needs to have red hair. What's this imposter? Like, what happened? Did he, drink the wrong chalice in The Last Crusade? Anyways, my question to you, gentlemen, on the topic of Outback and possibly bridging the gap between our topics, Paul, your Brooder growing urge and Vintage Joe. What vehicle do you think Outback, specifically Tiger Force Outback, should make his personal ride?
I think Rob should go first on this one because I know what I think I know what would be perfect for him, but I want to hear Rob's thoughts first.
I don't know, probably like an All Striker. It seems pretty straightforward. Or a Desert Rat would actually look pretty cool. I think the colors would match pretty good. Will complement each other. Not Desert Rat. What's it called?
Desert Fox, you mean?
Desert Fox.
Yes, that one. Oh god, Desert Rat. I think I was thinking of the Tiger Force Rat.
The Tiger Rat.
I'm very partial to the idea of giving him a Tiger Sting. I feel like in the Joe continuity, in my mind anyway, Joe Cannon should we call it? I think like the Tiger Sting is a vehicle like he co-opted, that he stole. Like he stole the Stinger from a Cobra base that he infiltrated, and he had it tigerized, so to speak, and that's his jam, that's his vehicle. He can get around with it really well. I think a close second best to that would be the Tiger Paw, considering how stripped down he is. But just the All Striker, just the Tiger Sting just makes a lot of sense. It's got a nice place to keep his backpack. Maybe instead of having all the missiles on there, he could like change it out for like communications equipment so that he can stay in touch. I don't know, but I like that as a vehicle for him. In my mind, that vehicle is for him to ride, and I do feel that gap in my collection. Like I do feel like this Tiger Force Outback is missing from my collection, because I just don't know. Like right now, Duke is kind of the Tiger Sting guy.
Mm.
You know, when I wanted to be Outback, because I feel like Outback is the leader of Tiger Force. Yeah.
Or at least the brand ambassador with that damn kitty shirt. Look,
Yeah.
I'm thinking a little bit out the box, but I would really love to see him at the controls of a float plane or seaplane.
Mhm.
You know, I'm also thinking that kind of Raiders of the Lost Ark opening, you know, escaping from the locals. Yeah, man, I just think that, and it kind of fits in with the fact that he's this old, cantankerous survivalist dude. He's got one of these, you know, rusty old birds that he keeps in his, I don't know, out back behind his house, and he uses it to just, you know, fly to inaccessible places and land on these swampy waters. Anyways, that's it for my postulation on this new toy. Paul, any more brooders you'd like to show us?
Oh no, that was it.
Any
I
more
just
brooding on Brooder?
anymore. Yeah, no, there's no further brooding on Brooder. I saw them and I thought, hey, I'm gonna take a shot of these because I'm sure it'd be cool to talk about in the podcast, and it was quite fun. I actually want to just quickly turn to the comments and see if anybody's like mentioned.
How cool
Like
they
MC
are.
DJ says, is that a possible Honda Lu custom? Well, could be if you wanted to turn that. UPS Universal Python Services says Darren Cobb. I love this, man. MC DJ wants to know where these were. I found these in a Toy Kingdom. On my side, I don't know if they have Toy Kingdom in America, but yeah.
I feel like
they-
Toy Kingdom is like a poor man's Toys R Us, basically.
It kind of is, although sometimes it's better in some respects. You know, Toys R Us in South Africa is very much more like Babies R Us with a small bit of toys and video gaming stuff slapped onto it. Although to answer the
Folks
question
in Oz
of,
would be able to find Brooder at Toy World. Yep, getting real original with the naming conventions. We've got Toy Kingdom in South Africa and Toy World in Australia. But yeah, I sometimes confuse the two. Anyways,
Toy
same deal.
Universe.
Mm-hmm.
so, and then MC DJ reckons that a Tiger or Striker would be Outback's #1 vehicle of choice, to which I suppose we should call it the Tiger Striker.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
cool,
good.
actually.
Cool. But yeah,
TTM.
nothing new on my side. I figure just before we jump into our next segment, and I just want to just quickly like take up a little bit of air with this. This weekend that's just passed, we did a Kung Fu exhibition. So before we get into like what are you watching, what are you wearing, I did a bit of a Kung Fu Expo with some of the guys, and that was yesterday. In terms of the timing of this recording. And so there's some shots of like Sasuke and I doing some Tai Chi. I thought I'd start it off nice and soft. You can see the back of us, and yay. And then there's some stuff of me doing some form. So that's me doing tiger form, and it's got like
Damn,
a bit
dude.
of a floor section there
You
where
can
you
fight
sort of
someone like that.
yeah, it's crazy,
crazy.
man. And that's more of it. So you can see my hands are like got the fingers out because it's all tiger claw stuff. Although admittedly my fingers shouldn't be so open, but adrenaline at a hot day and nerves, open them up a little bit. Then and then there's just a few shots
That's
of me doing some
wild.
kung fu, and then
Damn,
there's
dude.
some weapon work.
Talk about taking it to the street. This isn't like in some martial arts studio. Like literally, you're on the bricks.
Yeah, and good times because I had to roll on those bricks. You can
Ow.
see this if you look carefully. You can see my like elbows on that, and that's like after that your body like slams on the ground, and then you come up onto your knees and you sort of turn. So yeah, that was fun. And that's after you've done like this really cool sort of thing that we call a tiger roll, which is for military guys, you might be familiar with something called a commando roll. It's the same kind of thing.
Paul, should a man of your advanced age be doing such things?
Totally, dude. Hell yeah, man. Like that's the beauty of it. Because I've been doing this since my 20s now, or since my late 20s, I've got the conditioning built up in me to resist a lot of what is happening to me here. So that's cool. I would say if somebody had to start doing kung fu when they were like 38, it would be a little bit more tough. But just to put it out there.
Paul, you totally are channeling some, I don't know, Napoleon Dynamite energy when you're like, yeah, I've got the body conditioning of a 25-year-old. That's
Yeah,
why
but I
I can
mean,
do these maneuvers, man.
no, but I mean, what I'm trying to get at is it's been
I
a
take
slow
I
process.
take
you know?
0% damage.
Well,
And I take 50 XP.
it does. It feels like it's not that painful. Like I know it's a pain. It's painful when I started doing it, and now I don't feel that pain so much anymore. So that's
Yeah,
conditioning.
you've
dude. Yeah,
done
it's
it
just the
so
thing.
much. You're used to it.
But I mean, and to put things in
Papa
perspective,
Cherry.
guys, we've got a student. His name is Cornelius, and he's like 54. And when we're in Tiger class with him, he outpaces all of us, dude. I mean, that guy is just hardcore. All of the stuff that you're seeing me doing here, he does backflips and handsprings and all kinds of crap. He is insane. So yeah, let's not let our age get in the way. And then yeah, here's a fun like of me with the staff. I love this shot because you can see the staff flexing a little bit, so it shows you like how hard you flick out the staff. And like it's flexing, it's cool. But anyway, enough of that. I just thought I'd show you guys because I don't often get to show people the kung fu stuff that we do because there isn't often a photographer nearby capturing the cool stuff. So yay. Anyway, that was
it's
that.
all cool stuff.
But like now we get to
Yes.
our favorite Rob section.
What are you reading? What are you watching? What are you playing? Rob, lead the charge.
Well, this week not too much new. I'm kind of just continuing on my Cowboy Bebop bent, I suppose. Keeping on going with that.
When
I'm
does
on
the
episode
live action show drop?
I think it's sometime in November now, actually. It's in the next week or so.
And you're
believe-
wanting to watch the original series so that you kind of spoil?
Yes,
the
actually, no,
live
Stephen, it drops on your birthday.
Happy birthday to me.
Hell yeah.
I've been
Oh,
watching
Well,
it
it's not that I want to
ba-da-ba-da-ba-da.
spoil it. It's just that I want to kind of like be able to, in my mind, be able to go. Because I mean, I had a general feeling of what the original series was like, but I wanted to kind of like be fresh when I do watch this.
Subbed or dubbed?
Subbed. Like the original Japanese
Ooh.
voices are so good, though.
They are good.
They
but,
are.
I
it's,
don't think I've ever watched it dubbed.
oh, because the
honestly.
dub's great.
I got
really?
annoyed with the translations because I thought the translations were clunky. There was one line that Faye delivered in I think her introductory episode, and I was like, "Oh, come on, that's the direct translation. There's a far better English phrase they could have used." So I switched over to the dubbed version, and she did say it in like the kind of the more idiomatic English phrase, and I was like, okay, that's it. I'm sticking with the English translation from now on, because yeah, as I say, the dubbing is they take creative license, and you know the voice talent will reinterpret the lines in a more naturalistic English way, whereas the subtitling will stay faithful to the Japanese word for word, which I don't know, man. Maybe I'm stepping on hallowed ground here. I don't think it always services the drama well, because you're kind of pulled out of it. You're like, oh, that's a really clunky way of expressing something. But in the original, if we could understand Japanese, it would seem so much more eloquent.
Nuanced. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So the nuance
That
is
is
reinserted when the English-speaking cast take a crack at it. Maybe it's not the case for every dubbed show. I'm sure it's not. I'm sure it varies voice cast to voice cast. But I'm saying that Cowboy Bebop, as you were saying, Paul, has some very good English dub.
Well, then I'll be sure to check it out after I watch the live action.
You can
So
do
I'll just
the
watch 3
triumvirate. Exactly. Jeez.
But I mean, coming
That's
from a
what it
guy
was.
who did dubbing, I mean, I trust your opinion as well. You know, you have some idea of what good dubbing is and what bad dubbing is.
Yeah, the only kind of dubbing I've ever done is bad dubbing, my friends.
So
let me
you
tell
know.
Yes, yes. When you are dubbing Indian soap opera into English, it's all about quantity over quality. Let me tell you.
Well, I watched this really cool show called it's called The $1 Billion Code. It's a German show about guys who basically invented the technology behind Google Earth. And I'm going to leave it at that because anything more than that will actually make it will spoil it. It's a fantastic show if you guys haven't checked it out. I watched that dubbed, and I typically hate Netflix's dubs. Like whenever they do a European show and they dub it in English, it always sounds so flat and so cold, and I feel like the emotions are often wrong for the character. And this was one of the few times where, like, I started watching the show and I heard it had a dub, and I was like, okay, it's actually okay. It's like it doesn't bug me because usually I'll just switch a Netflix show into subtitles, like if it's a foreign show. And I can't think of the name of the show now, but there's this really cool bank robbery show that has got the woman who went on to portray Baroness in the most recent Snake Eyes film. Trying to remember the name of that show, but like the dubbing in that is unbelievably awkward. And so
Ursula Cabrero.
yeah, so like wow. My thing is, yeah, dubs can be so good and so bad. I know that in Anime Works we used to actually have like sort of a list of shows that had fantastic dubbing, where we would actually be able to sell those on their dubs, and that would be animes like Full Metal Alchemist. The Ghost in the Shell dub was actually very good. Cowboy Bebop was one of them. Was amongst that. Trigun as well, and also Hellsing. Trigun is interesting in the whole anime sphere in that a lot of people find the original Japanese to be fiercely irritating, whereas the English is more palatable.
A bit of a soft touch up front,
Yeah.
doesn't it? I mean, it's really like comical until it takes a left turn.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
all of a sudden, the lead character suddenly stops being a goofball and actually starts being hardcore. It's an interesting show in that respect, but guys, I don't want to get too far down the
No,
anime
let's not get down that
track.
rabbit hole. Yeah.
That's a whole new podcast. But I will say that in the chats, a very interesting and I'd say very positive tidbit is that apparently for the live action, they're overdubbing the flesh and blood actors with the original Japanese voice cast.
That's
So,
crazy.
Spike Spiegel and Jetto and Faye will all sound like they did in the
Like they
anime.
did. That's
Thanks, Dan.
crazy. What an amazing thing to do. Well, I suppose it's like, last thing on the whole dubbing and whatever else thing. It's like in Germany where they have their own, everything is, I believe, put into German, and they have their version of like Bruce Willis, who's the voice of Bruce Willis, and like, like they become so famous that like they can't actually watch the original movies because it's like, this is that is not Bruce Willis. It does not sound like him.
I have actually experienced that. As you guys know, I was seeing a girl that was from Germany, and she had exactly that. It was like,
well, she was from a German.
she was from a German as well. But she had that. There were certain movies where she was just like, no, the dubbed version is better. And I'm like, no, the dubbed version of Terminator is not better, but thank you for participating anyway. But yes, it is a thing. It is a thing. So yeah, Rob, spot on, dude.
Absolutely.
And also just I just started watching Squid Game finally. Like properly, like sat down, Celia and I started watching it, subtitled. Because that's one show where the dubbing does bug me. But anyway, show is very good. Rob, I know you've been checking it out. Steve, I'm not sure about you, but I've been thoroughly enjoying it. At least until halfway through the second episode when I passed out after being completely buggered after the whole day of exhibiting Kung Fu. But I've been enjoying that when I have been able to watch something. And of course, I'm digging Seinfeld. I really, Seinfeld's great. Anyway, carrying on. And
I was gonna launch into a side note about the state of Star Wars, but we're just spinning our wheels, boys. Let's hurry up and get to our topic.
Let's do it.
of course.
But I suppose one can't move past the kind of the general chat section without mentioning that this weekend past would have been the Codename Iowa convention, and there are various things being showcased there. The Grindstone Studios toys are obviously going to get a panel, so we'll see some exciting news out of that. The Codename callsign Longbow figures, the sort of new O-ring figures that are being created by an independent toy company, we'll hopefully see some updates. But something that came out of this past week, which I just would love to show you guys, is the Robo Skull Mark II being piloted by Desert Rat from Valiverse.
No way. That is so
Nice,
cool.
So yeah, a 6-inch figure inside the Robo Skull of our buddy Tony Roberts.
That's amazing.
It's
cool,
showing
man.
such love and such a synergy between fan projects, basically.
I
And
caught
they
that
both
shot.
look gorgeous together.
Hey, on the topic of Robo Skull, I suppose it's worth mentioning that GI Joburg has now, well, GI Joburg, myself from GI Joburg, I've managed to secure one. Thanks to yeah.
Outstanding, Paul. That is great
So
news.
when that bad boy comes out, I will have a Robo Skull to play with and to review and gush over, as well as one of the grindstone figures that is coming with it. So one of the O-ring style
That is
figures.
incredible. Like
that
we're
is-
gonna have to come up with the most crazy play motion story.
We got to do something cool with it. I'm very excited about that. It just, had to announce. Look how big that toy is, man. It's going to be
I know.
awesome.
Massive. I didn't mention it at the time, but I think that the skull portion of the Robo Skull Mark II is 1-to-1 with a human skull. Surely it's got to be. I mean, just looking at
That's
pictures of
madness.
it.
Looking at this picture that we're showing right now with this dude kind of like pointing at it, it is pretty. It looks pretty accurate. It might even be slightly bigger. I suppose depending on the skull.
That's so rad.
And
Wow.
yeah, that is. I believe that the prototype was at Codename Iowa, so people could actually handle it if they wanted to, and give it a thorough test.
Well, now I'm curious
Wow.
whose skull that was based off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did they actually take a live person's skull? Or not a live person, but like an actual person's skull, and then go like, now we'll design this. Oh, can you imagine like I suppose you can't really sell it, but like a crazy variant where it's actually made from a skull.
And also, on the top, yeah, that would be fantastic, actually.
That'd be
in a
amazing,
kind
but
of
I don't
macabre
think
way.
you can sell something like that.
Also, like you mentioning Grindstone, I think a lot of their stuff is on BBTS now. It's available for purchase from BBTS.
That's
it
cool
Grindstones
that you can
figures?
actually get it from a proper. I mean, it's cool to be able to buy direct from these people, but it's nice that their products are popping up on recognized retail outlets. You know.
Yeah, and guys, I mean, please, like, if I yeah, no, wait, sorry, I take that back. The Grindstone stuff is not out yet, but I think it is available for pre-order. I could be
Okay.
wrong there, but I do know that the Eagle Force stuff has finally, made an arrival on BBTS. Like the pre-orders are up for you to grab your
Cool.
favorite approximations of your favorite figures, like Charlie Brown. I mean,
Charlie Brown.
So, boys,
yeah.
what would you like in your Christmas stocking in
Hey.
2021?
Oof. I gotta get my list. Hold on. Okay, here we
Rob? Paul's
Go,
the
Rob.
non-starter.
Well, okay, so I mean, I think these are essentially taken off my my favorites or my favorites list. I think we did earlier this year. So it's pretty
Scarlet.
straightforward. Yes, actually, Scarlet. I recently played around more with my original Scarlet with the straight arm version, and it just reminded me how much I would love to have a swivel arm version. Because like I was just moving about trying to get into certain poses, and I realized it's so limiting not having that extra articulation in the elbows.
It's tricky, dude. I know. It's
I
like,
was mere minutes from getting a replacement crotch for you. Someone snapped it up. Like, these things are like hen's teeth, but it just randomly popped up in like a parts sale on
That's wild.
an Australia Facebook group. And man, I just got in. It must have been a couple of seconds too late because the post had only gone up 15 minutes ago. And I was like, "Oh, could I please have the item in grid D7?" I was like, "Sorry, mate,
D7.
just got
That
taken."
is wild. So that just shows you like how many of these crotches are broken.
look, an
Like,
intact
people
Scarlet
need it.
version, like it's so thin. That lady has got
Mm.
a really, really slim bonnet.
I mean, it's a very slim figure compared to the figures that came out at the time. So I mean, it's definitely its own figure.
But it didn't.
You know,
It
the
wouldn't
molding
help
and
you
all
with the
that.
swivel arm need, and I
No,
don't
obviously
know
not.
if
But I
you
mean,
can
it
swap
would
out
still
the
be
arms.
nice. Yeah,
Mm.
no, I think I don't know if I'd want to. I
Nah.
think I'd prefer to have two versions, so the swivel arm version and the original straight arm version.
Oh, well, Rob, all you need to do is back the HasLab and get the the Scarlet pilot version.
Well, there we go. Okay,
Nice
I'm
and
gonna
new.
quickly get me one of those.
Oh, speaking of, I would love someone who's in possession of an ace and a Scarlet to let us know if you can do that head swap, A, and B, will Ace's dome fit over Scarlet's head sculpt? I
Oh,
don't think
that's
it would.
interesting.
So I think
Probably
they would have
wouldn't.
had to re-engineer a lot of those parts to make it work. You can't simply kit bash that figure.
So the
What's
Scarlet
so
is number
funny,
one.
Paul?
He's,
Just
you know,
the
Ace's
whole
dome.
pretty Ace's dome over Scarlet's head. Blap. Terrible.
Oh my
I
goodness.
walked into that one, didn't I?
Another thing
Blap.
that I am wishing for Christmas, and we've seen before, I'm still wishing for a masterpiece Skids. I
A
still think this is
masterpiece
a
Skids.
fantastic
Oh yes, yeah.
figure. I think it's a awesome update, and it does, as I think I said last time, it doesn't look too complicated. You know, like it's a good masterpiece where you can kind of figure out what to do. I mean, I think that's always been the problem with a lot of the earlier ones. You just don't know what to do with them. They're just so complicated. Yeah, so there was another one that I'm definitely wishing for, and then finally and surprisingly, because it is something that I'll be mentioning a bit later in the show as well. But I'm kind of softening on this line, and I probably my favorite one and the one that I'm quite excited about. I would actually love to get a classified spirit.
Wow.
um, like if I had to
Okay.
choose one figure to get from this entire line so far, I think it would be Spirit, because I think he can kind of stand alone. He'd be a good display piece. I mean, he comes with freedom, and yeah, I think it's a really cool update. It stays true to the original, but also introduces, like nice modernized. It's a nice modernized version of the character. I love that he comes with a sniper rifle. I think that's a really cool addition to the character.
Well, shit. I mean, if people are already getting alley vipers and bats in hand, maybe it's possible
can
you could
happen.
get Spirit
It's
before
possible it might
Christmas.
happen.
Maybe, but I think
doubt it.
But I think the alley vipers and bats have been in production for a long time already. I mean, remember when those
Why did they
unpainted
take so long with
samples?
Spirit? They should have done him
Oh,
first.
dude, it might have just been logistics, man.
Sons of
Just
bitches.
logistics.
But yeah,
They probably knew that everybody's gonna lose their shit about bats and alley vipers, so they probably put those in to the oven first, if you know what I mean, and probably made
They
a
cooked
shit
them
ton of
first.
them actually.
Does
yeah,
anyone
so those
know
are the
offhand
three
when
top
Spirit
things.
is set to drop? Is it the
Next
first
year,
quarter?
March.
Oh,
March.
it's coming in March.
April. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's so.
Which
far away.
means in the States, I mean that's BBTS's pre-order listing, so I imagine it'll probably hit store shelves in February.
Yeah.
BBTS is always a little bit late on that, I find.
I mean, something else I'd wished would have come out by now, which I would have loved to have gotten for Christmas, is the GI Joe Renegade Studios RPG. The base book. But as far as I can see, it's nowhere near being coming out. So on their website, they've already listed, the pre-orders, release of, I think it was the Power Rangers one, which they announced at about the same time, and that's for March next year. So I mean, that means that like the GI Joe one, it's not going to come out before March next year. It's going to come out after that. So that's more of like the German Christmas gift, a June gift maybe. So that's my very short Christmas list of things that I'm still very excited about getting, hopefully.
Nice.
Okay.
Heck yeah.
Cool,
So
man.
Paul,
So
slap
Skids,
us
huh?
with this. Yeah, dude, Skids looks absolutely incredible. I think he drops this
And
month.
Spirit. Yeah.
And Spirit.
Would you consider the regular release? What is it? A Voyager class? I forget the nomenclature.
Oh,
I
the
think there
deluxe.
was the one that I showed last week or the week
There's the deluxe
before.
class from Kingdom that's coming
That's
out.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think there was another one that
And
I
Sound Blaster.
did
Just
show off
putting that out there.
recently. Oh, there was the PulseCon version to remind people what that looks like. It was this little guy. Yeah, I think this is
Oh,
also
yeah.
a pretty good one too.
Seeing it after the masterpiece, it's you can definitely see it's the poor man's toy. Well, not it's, it's the toy that you play with as opposed to
Yeah,
the one
this is the kids'
the
toy.
ultimate
This is what you get,
representation.
kids.
But also,
And it's
ironically,
still a good update, though. I think.
and in my opinion, that Skids that you're showing now, out of that whole unveiling of toys, that's the best looking toy out of everything they unveiled at PulseCon for Transformers, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think
Humble
so.
is it? That and also Sound Blaster, actually. Sorry.
I get why Sound Blaster's okay, but he's no Skids, you know.
He's no Skids. Not that I'm like aching for a Sound Blaster. I just knew it was coming down the pipe, and when I saw it, I was like, "Huh, nice." But Skids
I
is
think
beautiful.
for me, Skids is the scoop of Transformers.
He is the scoop of Transformers.
I
Rob,
didn't
we
see
gotta
that.
get you and Thew together one day. I think you guys would have a lovely
Oh,
chat about Skids.
Fu.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I just love that I love these like obscure characters because I really don't think he's a main character. Not that I followed, Transformers storylines and stuff, but like yeah, since that first time, I saw the character, the figure, I was just like, it's cool. It's just he's actually a robot in disguise.
Oh.
I think that's freaking cool.
Not a Porsche.
Exactly.
or
It's
a
not like, hey, look at
Lamborghini.
me, I'm a Porsche. It's like, oh, there's not that many of those going around. Oh, jeez. So Paul, drop this.
Me,
novel
what is on
us.
my list?
Tell
Okay.
us.
Deep
Here we
breath.
go.
He's going
Deep
in.
breath. There we going. Okay, so I really want a version 2 Mercer. The vintage.
Rick.
Rick! I need Rick. I need Rick. I want a Battle Core Mindbender very badly. I love that toy. I love it. It's such a great design, man. It's just super rad. Ninja Force Zartan Vintage and the Ninja Force Night Creeper Leader. I'm actually cool with the orange or the yellow and purple, or both, actually. I wouldn't mind getting either of those. I would love a class.
Leader, ironically, was not released in the vintage, in the Ninja Force.
No, it's a Battle Core, I think.
Yeah,
I think.
weird.
Yeah.
huh?
I
At
just
least
call it
doesn't
Ninja
have any
Force
action
Night Creeper.
feature.
Yeah, thank God. Yeah, no, he doesn't. But he comes in 2 different flavors, which is interesting as well. So, I classified Bat. That has really like shot up on my radar. Like I understand that, and I say this knowing there's probably no way I'm gonna get a classified Bat in time for Christmas, but like it's on my Christmas list, right? And then a small Heberg entry here, and it is quite a small one because it's quite a difficult figure for me to get my hands on. Is She-Ra from Origins He-Man? Yeah, Masters of the Universe Origins She-Ra. Like that is becoming quite a tricky figure to get my hands on.
Can you sing the She-Ra theme tune? Very good.
She-Ra. Hey guys, want to hear you want to get a bit of a deep cut? I actually prefer the cartoon for She-Ra more than He-Man, the original
could
cartoons. I think
we
She-Ra is the
spoke
better
about
show.
this once upon a
Yeah.
time, and
Yeah.
I heartily agree with that point because in Eternia, like the Eternians are on top. Like Skeletor
Yeah.
and his minions are clearly under the heel of the royalty and their enormous opulence and
He's just like
forces.
slightly annoying. He's like, I'm still here. I'm trying to do something.
Exactly.
Oh, go back to your
take
cave.
He-Man out of the equation, and Skeletor is still the underdog. You
Yeah,
know?
he's still getting his ass kicked.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
in She-Ra's case, it's this like struggle against the evil empire. Like
Yeah, it's
the
a
Horde
resistance
is
movement.
on
Yeah.
top, which is vastly more interesting to me. It gives the show stakes.
And that opening song for the movie when they introduce She-Ra, like the He-Man She-Ra Sword for Power movie, that opening song is just amazing. You guys should give it a listen. In fact, if you're listening to this podcast right now, if you want to hear, I would say an incredibly synth wavy, campy 80s track go and check it out. It's just super catchy. You will love to hate it, or you'll just really love it. Either way.
What is it, Paul? I missed that the first time round.
The Sword of Power opening song. So Secret of the Sword. Sorry, Secret of the Sword. He-Man, She-Ra, Secret of the Sword. It was like a mini-series, all collected as the He-Man movie. It's for the sort of transition into She-Ra, or should I say, to introduce She-Ra.
It's like the opening series of.
Yeah, it's the first couple of episodes, basically.
Is that what you're saying, Paul?
I think so.
Anyways,
Yeah.
Tim's saving
They
your ass in
collected
the
it.
comments.
Thank you,
Secret
Tim.
of the
Got my
Sword.
back.
Nice.
It's
Guys,
because of him that I watched it recently. So,
Oh.
and then, well, we'll just hear what Steven wants on his list.
The truth of the matter is, like, what do you get a guy who has everything? I do feel like I'm very content with my collection. There are always bits and pieces that I can add to some mythical list. And to that end, as far as my top 5 for 2021 is concerned, there are only 2 items remaining. Because I bought a Sky Striker, a beautiful Sky Striker, I might add. Bought a Toxo Zombie. That's actually making its way to me as we speak. Maybe it'll be here in time for Christmas. Who knows?
Ooh.
And I've got my Tiger Force out back in my possession.
Radness, dude. But that's
And then
like,
if
that's great.
The only thing
Yeah.
remaining would be Swivel Arm Grunt and the infamously difficult to find, it seems, weapon from the 1992 Air Commando Spirit. His pistol. My goodness, man.
Did you guys, did you see, I'm struggling to remember his name now. It was on Instagram. Somebody took Steamroller and gave them those 2 pistoles. Like, it's such a cool thing. It just made me think of, like, when you mentioned Spirit's gun now, just made me think of that Steamroller, and he's just loaded. And I saw that on Instagram, and I just had to comment. It was just so cool.
What guns did they give him?
They're just snub-nosed shotguns, basically. Yeah, it looks so cool. Like, I'm sorry, I'm just struggling to remember the name of the Instagrammer now. But it was rad. It was just such a good choice in weapon. I was like, damn, that's so cool. Like, that just elevated Steamroller for me. That's actually, by the way, that's the genesis of this topic, by the way. Seeing that just changed my opinion on that character, which is what made me think of this topic that we're going to be getting into after our Christmas lists. So, Steve, is it safe to say that we are allowed to now buy you socks?
It's like that Mr. Bean Christmas. He stuffs his stocking with a matching stocking. Pops the one sock out of the other sock and like, oh, Christmas socks. Yeah, man.
No, because I'm seeing, like, I mean, you're a dad now, right? So I'm seeing this transition. You're going from, like, into dad mode. So, like, you're the guy that's got everything. So, like, now, this is what happens. This is why, like, we would buy socks for my dad for Christmas, because clearly, when I was in the picture, my dad was like, well, I've got everything now, and then my mom's like, well, I guess we're just gonna buy you socks and aftershave now, and like, is that what's happening
look,
to you?
It's also a case of, like, I've reached my ceiling for stuff.
Alright.
I don't need more stuff. I'm stuffed.
You're stuffed.
Like a Christmas turkey. Or Thanksgiving turkey. This is the interesting thing about this topic in November, is because for a lot of the world, the lead up to Christmas has begun. But for our folks up north and to the far west, it goes Thanksgiving first, and then the Christmas ramp up. Like, so I don't know if their stores are Christmas decked out yet, because it's all Thanksgiving bonanza.
Ours are.
Yeah, no, the bloody, like you said, they've thawed out Mariah and Buble and everybody else, Boney M. They're doing the rotations at the supermarket.
It's madness, man.
Darren has asked if I could just respray a Viper version 4 gun and pass it off as spirits. Well, I'm still holding out hope that this accessory exists and is not too far out of my reach. There is a seller, a dealer who is based in Australia, who deals in parts and toys, and just he's got claim sales all the time. And I literally missed out on, like, I looked away from my screen and looked back, and that item was already claimed. I was like, oh, bloody hell. Anyways, I don't want to belabor the point. As the man who has everything, I want everyone to have a safe Christmas and a Christmas, hopefully, with their loved ones, because unfortunately, due to circumstances beyond anyone's control, I once again will be spending an orphan's Christmas on the far side of the world. So yeah, like a Christmas wish that I have, which obviously can't come true for me, but hopefully can come true for the maximum number of people this year, is to spend Christmas with your family. And this is true for my brother's case, who's been in the UK and has only just been able to purchase flights to South Africa. He's got 2 kids. It's always going to be touch and go. Like he still doesn't believe it. Like once he gets in the plane and it's in the air, then he will believe that it will have worked out. But there are so many additional hurdles to jump through thanks to the pandemic. And yeah, I mean, up until very recently, South Africa was still on the UK's red list of countries that you could not get any kind of exemption to visit. So, and of course, Tim, yes, if I had one wish, I'd ask for world peace.
So would I, dude. Like,
yeah.
I don't care how lame that is. I would love
Can there
for
be
world peace
in the world, please?
Yeah, and not just peace in the stable.
Anyways, that's me, man. I didn't want to make the tone all somber and stuff, but like honestly,
Nah, man.
I'm cool with toys. I just want to see mine again.
I'm just excited that your butt gets to, be with your folks, and that, his kids get to be with Granny and Grandpa. That's really
Hopefully
cool. That's uplifting. That's great.
Hopefully he repatriates my beautiful Sky Striker. I'd love him to find a way to smuggle that in, along with 2 kids' clobbers. I mean, traveling with twins is no easy feat.
Yeah, but yeah, he's badass. He's got it.
Shall we
crack on?
Yeah, this is getting interesting. We're going to talk about toys that we had no affinity for and have suddenly come around on, and we're also in the same breath going to talk about toys that we always liked but have now gone sour on. We've limited it to 3, and I've struggled to come up with them initially. But now that I look,
starts rolling, right?
This is a whole list.
Now that I look back over my list, I'm like, absolutely, I've gone sour on these toys, or absolutely, I have now got a raging hard on for these toys. So, who's going first, boys?
I let me go first.
Okay, Paul, go first.
Yeah, let me give it a shot. Let me see.
Let's do it.
Okay, so how do you guys? Should we start with things that we have grown to dislike, or things that we've grown to like? Which ones are the ones that we should start with? Do you think?
I'd like to go with the positives and then get onto the negatives.
Oh, okay.
No, that's cool. I'm a troll like that.
No, that's cool. Well, I suppose you could always change it in the edit, hey. So, toy. Okay, so with the toys that I dislike, and here's the thing, I had a hard time figuring out toys that I disliked. Okay, and I mean, this is obvious. I mean, you guys know me. I'm a pretty up person when it comes to things that I like. I like to give stuff the benefit of the doubt, and give it. I don't know. I just see the potential in a lot of things. So it's difficult for me
to the benefit of the doubt.
I like to do the stuffs. Okay, like I just get excited about things. But like a toy that I've grown to dislike, and it's literally the only one. Well, a toy that I've grown to like, let's just start with that, rather, is Commando Snake Eyes.
Interesting.
So I always thought Commando Snake Eyes was like, okay. Like, I've always been like, I think it's a cool toy, and I know that it like made a huge impact when it first came out, and I'm pretty sure that as a kid, I may have gravitated towards it already, but because I had I was spoiled for choice when it came to Snake Eyes, and because my first Snake Eyes or blush with Snake Eyes was the silver goggled butterfly knife wielding, 89 version.
The superior version, yes.
Yeah, well, some might say the superior version. And then I was introduced to the version that had Timber. That became my holy grail. So this guy kind of fell by the wayside in in my importance or love or care for him. And
Look,
it's only
you can't be
recently.
blamed for that because it had no impact for us. This wasn't
Yeah.
available in South Africa, and it wasn't featured on any card backs that we had access to, so it didn't exist.
Yeah, it's a cipher. It's like it's a thing, like I don't know, it just didn't have a special place for me. And I know that I disliked it when long ago I had asked a fellow toy dealer to try and get hold of a Snake Eyes and Scarlet vintage toy for me, and he went and got me prices and stuff. And he was like, they're so expensive. I mean, they were so expensive, guys. They were 300 Rand each. Ooh. And we're talking like 1999 here. Okay, so like, wow, so expensive. Anyway,
So you've come around on this one, hey?
I've come around on
Commando
it,
Snake Eyes.
and I'll tell you what,
Just in time for the Hasbro Pulse 2-pack. Hey,
right? And that's where,
got
and
you,
that's where
baby.
this all, they got me, man. And you know what turned me around on it was actually,
my review.
was the classified version.
Of course.
God damn it.
The classified Commando Snake Eyes is what turned me onto this toy. I was like, oh wow, this is actually really cool. And then the O-ring was announced, and I was like, wow, I really want this figure now. It also doesn't help that if you're trying to find one of these toys for yourself, this is quite an expensive dude to get your hands on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, idiots keep drilling holes in mine. Bloody hell.
Well, I rediscovered recently that I own one of these.
Oh, yes, courtesy of Brent McMillan.
Yes. I was like, and I
our
kind of came a
benevolent
little bit around
Brent.
myself, actually. Because I think he is a really cool figure. I'd jump in on Paul on this one. I wouldn't say my favorite, but I mean, I have an appreciation for it.
And then we did this little review on Snake Eyes as well. That also kind of
It's a good video. You can see
turned me
why
on this toy.
people, kind of like gravitated towards him because he really is a cool figure.
It is cool.
And the standout from that original lineup.
And I think it's like Steve's video, the review that we did, kind of showed me how to play with this toy. Yeah. So that's why I've come around on this one.
What?
The next one.
Issue 21 didn't? Come on.
No, issue 21 is just like Snake Eyes' badassery, It didn't make me want to buy the toy. It was just made me happy that I have Snake Eyes toys.
Well, Paul, I'm going to jump in with one of my sours then.
Yeah, go for it.
Because that it segues so nicely. I have really gone ice cold on Visor Snake Eyes.
Uh-oh.
Interesting.
Snake Eyes version 2, often lauded by most Joe fans as the ultimate Snake Eyes, and the one that sort of really came to prominence, taking all the notes from the original and then adding to it in material ways, making him a ninja, giving him the wolf. I don't like this toy anymore, man. Certainly does hold some mystique, but I am really sour on the visor in all forms. I'm sick of seeing it. It was used in feature film and makes no sense to me visually. I don't like it. I don't like the fact that it's the most popular. I really wish we got more Commando Snake Eyes just for the simplicity of it. Just because there's a purity there that if you add all this ninja gunk to... Snake Eyes will always be a ninja, but a ninja doesn't have to run around with a sword. And unfortunately, running around with a sword kind of forces you to use it. So it's always going to be a contrivance that follows Snake Eyes around that he will cross swords with Storm Shadow. Why? Because they're both the only sword-wielding guys on the battlefield, and they're linked by the Arashikage clan, and they've got this shared history. But if you ask me, these guys should never cross swords. It's too obvious when all they need is a conversation to straighten things out. And they're both very philosophical warriors. Anyways, I'm getting off the beaten track. Basically, stylistically, give me goggles or give me death. I'm done with the visor.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
That is strong.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Go you.
Hot takes, boys. Hot takes on episode
He's
2.
discovered himself.
2 to 3.
I'm I'm glad I'm sitting down. That's all I'm saying. Uh, well, then another toy that I've kind of come around on, and it's something that I didn't really have much love for before, but is this bad boy over here, the Cobra Hydro Sled. I don't know what it is about this. I think it's just that it's also. I think it's because of the play motions. When Steve uses this in the play motion, and it just makes so much sense. And then seeing it loaded with these two eels on the back, and you look at the box art, it just sells it to me. And when I realized how small it actually is, it became even cooler because for some reason, when you look at this, at least in my eye, when I used to see this online or in Mark Bellamo's guide, it just seemed bigger somehow. And I just felt like it was always just such a waste for being that size. But now that I see it's actually quite a compact little vehicle, I've really grown to love it. And I mean, this isn't something recent. This is something that happened, I think, sometime like maybe a year or 2 years ago, actually, that I just fell for this vehicle. I think it was when we were shooting Blazing Sand that that I turned on to this toy. And yeah, man, it's super cool, and I think it's super overlooked in a lot of ways too. So that's something I came around on. Have any of you guys have you guys got anything we can segue into, or can I go straight to my third one?
Get to number 3, dude. Do it.
Look,
to
I'd
the
just say
third one.
about the Hydro Sled, using it as a submersible craft really unlocks its potential. Using it as a surface skimmer, all very fine and well, but like that thing has stealth written all over it. It is
Yep.
totally an insertion vehicle for a pair of eels. So using it neath the waves it's a no-brainer for me. Gotta be.
I just think, yeah, and it's just so cool. I mean, stealth is the word there, right? It's just rad. And I kind of got a tied topic for my third one, because it's kind of interesting.
Tied topic.
All tied, a tied, like
A tied tongue.
a tied tongue. I have one of those too now. But this dude over here, the Cobra infantryman, the Cobra trooper, Cobra the enemy, whatever he is to you. Yeah, man, this is a toy that I was always like, yeah, Cobra officers, we totally need them, whatever's. And it was never like a major priority for me to get the vintage version. And I am, of course, referring to the Steven. I am, of course, referring to the vintage version of this guy because they've always also been one of those toys that's just been a little bit expensive to get your hands on. And I had a whole bunch of them in modern era. And I just felt like, okay, well, you know, whatever's. And then Steve got himself a handful of them. I think you managed to find 2 of them. And that turned me on to them quite a bit. I was like, wow, they're actually really, really good. And when I found one locally for sale for a fairly reasonable price, I couldn't help it but grab it. And here he is. I mean, this is a picture from my desk. And I've really turned into really loving this toy. It's like it's gone from being something that I had like very little interest in it into something that I have a lot more interest in and a lot more appreciation for, as well as a character that's also quite maligned in the Joverse. But this bad boy over here, Bazooka. Yeah. Bazooka was always just going to be a space filler for me. I was like, okay, I want to get Bazooka because he is a Sunbow character and I do need to fill the gap with him there and blah, blah, blah. And I had the Tiger Force version, which is fun, you know, and all that good stuff. And then last year sometime, I sort of realized I could get my hands on one. I just asked and Bart's buddy actually got hold of one for me, which I then bought from him. And here he is. And I gotta say, yeah, this is a great toy. Like, nothing special about Bazooka, you know, other than the fact that he's Bazooka, and that toy is just really great at being Bazooka. And once again, play motions have turned me onto this character, actually. So,
Woman, you turn me on with the big Babylon. Yeah, baby. Bad luck lady.
yeah, man.
Travels with Katzenbogen.
I've come to really like this toy, and I've come to find that he's got a lot of personality in a line of toys that have a lot of personality. You know, he just does stand out in a special way. So any hate that I've had for the bazooka toy, I think has now just faded away into the fact that I now get where he can fit, and yeah, so I'm loving that. And Rob, what have you turned on to? What were
What
you
have I
like?
turned
Squid
on
on,
to?
baby.
You can't say Scoop because you've always loved Scoop.
We all know we love Scoop. I love Scoop. Well, I think I'll start with like a more generic thing. And I think it came up obviously already in my wish list. I think I'm kind of softening on the classified line. I mean, finding more interest in it. Like I just thought there were no merits to the line because it wasn't 3 3/4 inch. Essentially, there's re-releasing 3 3/4 inch figures at a bigger scale. But like after seeing Spirit, I mean, it feels like they can modernize things, and there are some of the better 6 inch figures I think coming out. I mean, if I've looked at other figures from like the Marvel Legends line, I mean, still by the same company, but like they just don't feel as good as the GI Joe figures do. They're choosing nice accessories for them. The tooling is really good. The detailing is amazing, and they kind of, as the line's been going on, it feels like they're kind of getting into their stride. They're kind of producing new things, but there's a certain I suppose reverence or pathos with the old stuff. It's like we got to make it update it, but make it look
course
good.
correction
Or
gets
course correction,
thrown
yeah.
around a bit. That there's a level of listening to the fans.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's appreciated.
There are no more
that's
gold shin
appreciated.
pads.
Yeah, they obviously started like this is the original version that we're trying to go with, but actually, okay, it looks like the fans prefer updated versions of the old ones more, and I think I appreciate them. I'd love for them actually to produce their own characters at some point.
Whoa.
Expand the GI Joe universe. I think that'd be kind of cool. Like, what can they do now that they kind of have a better feel for what the fans want and create new characters that fit in?
Rob, are you not blurring the kind of the essentials here? Like, is classified the place to put new characters into? Are you not thinking
what would
maybe?
you call it then?
Well, classified, because it's a new scale for GI Joe. It's all about converting one's 3 3/4 inch or 4 inch modern collection into 6 inch classified versions. Like there is no room to create new characters because that would be a niche better filled by the retro collection, or now the retro O-ring collection. We've all been
but then I
crying
think that's
out
kind
for
of
new O-ring figures and characters.
yeah, for
Whereas
sure.
classified,
But I mean,
everyone's
these guys
crying out
need
for the best hits now reimagined in the 6 inch scale.
well, but I still would love for them to actually tackle new characters because I mean, because you're still going back to the 3 3/4 inch figures the whole time. You're not kind of
Okay.
like exploring new territory.
Here's
I mean,
a hypothetical.
3 3/4 inch isn't the base stone. It shouldn't necessarily be like where you're constantly going back to find inspiration for what you're producing now.
Here's a hypothetical.
They need to find their own voice. But yes.
So we got this mythical line in the modern collection called Pursuit of Cobra. Everyone speaks about it with great reverence because they took inspiration from old and they revamped it and made everything new. For instance, your spirit from Pursuit of Cobra, the one with the green snakes,
Yeah.
the one that looks like Billy from Predator, right?
Yeah.
That's a cool toy. Damn.
Cool
Sorry.
toy, yes, but would you take that toy with his reimagined stylings over a 4 inch reduction of the classified spirit?
Oh.
And if you extend this logic even further, would you take a brand new Viper class like Data Viper, who was a sort of drone pilot with like missile pods and a giant domed helmet, over a classic like Alley Viper? You see, I think the nostalgia bone will always win. Even if you want new characters and things. Like, unless you're buying everything, in which case you're just buying everything. But like, I think Classified is really homing in on the optimum versions of the toys we cherish and know and love from the past.
Well, then maybe that's what's actually slowly winning me over with this line is the fact that they are doing that. But I'm kind of misconstruing it with like, give me new characters, and it's just like I want new characters in general.
Good.
But I think yeah, Spirit I think is a fantastic example of what I would love to see more of from Classified. But yeah, I think so I'm more in favor now of the Classified line than I have been before. I think I've been very against it. I think it's kind of taking tension away from the O-ring figures, in 3 3/4 inch. But I think they're doing cool stuff, and you can't deny that. I mean, or at least I can't deny that any longer.
Well, I'm in the same boat as you on that. I've really come around quite a bit on Classified, and that was actually something. I'm actually glad that you mentioned it because the segues really well into it. But Classified Joes, especially like I feel like from Zartan upwards, have been really magical. And I mean, I've got this Flint, and I've got a Lady J to open, and I'm dying to get them out of their cardboard prisons, because they look so good, and they look like so much fun. And also, I've still been taking 30 minutes for myself to play with my toys and whatever, and a lot of that has been with these two clowns over here, these two Cobra infantrymen. I've been having a lot of fun with these two guys, so like just doing stupid stuff around the house, just like creeping them around corners and doing like some around the corner shooting and whatever. But I've been having fun with them, and that's the thing. Like I've actually been playing with them, and that speaks volumes of the Classified line. And once again, thanks to guys like MCD and to Ryan Sweeney for helping me see the light in this respect with what you guys have done. But yeah, I feel the same way you do, Rob. I've softened on them quite a bit. Before I was interested in them with GI Joburg eyes, and now I'm interested in them with my own eyes, which is just only dangerous for my wallet. So anyway.
They're spending your money for you.
Exactly.
And then I have one other thing that I've kind of become in favor with. After we did our 90s binge a little while ago, I started looking a bit more at the 90s stuff. And there was a couple of things. I mean, I often thought all the 90s vehicles were just, maybe not all of them, but generally they're just trash. It's just like there's too many play features and just too much stuff. I just couldn't reconcile them with how I would like to play with things. But then I kind of started looking at the vehicles again, and I discovered one that I thought that now I'm kind of like, it's not as bad as I thought it was. And that is the Brawler. I don't think I've ever mentioned this vehicle before. I really think this toy is actually kind of cool. It still looks very much like a toy. I think those kind of the way that the two missile launchers are kind of like molded, to be able to allow it to kind of like swivel up and down. It feels very toy-like or toyetic. But I just love that you can put so many figures in it. And it feels compact, like a very compact toy. Like it's all there. It's all together. It's got treads, which I think is fantastic. I think treads over wheels always. And the orange is garish, but not too garish.
Works nicely with the blue.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think it just looks better than I thought it did. When I kind of, those times I kind of like flip through the Yojo galleries and go, yeah, I don't like that still. I don't like this. I like this. And it's just something like switched. I was just like, actually, this is a cool toy. I just like that it's compact. It feels like it has a lot of depth going on. And it's multi-purpose, like it has like these giant like machine guns on it. It has it's a tank, but it doesn't look exactly like a tank. It's got that huge gun on the top there, and it has so much stuff going on, which I think is just really cool.
Well, Rob,
if you want to, you can repaint all that stuff.
You could,
yeah,
and many people have, I suppose. It's an easy enough fix to just repaint the garish orange.
Yeah, it's just
but
done.
The best showcase online for a Brawler is actually an unboxing and assembly video done by our good buddy HCC788. The link will be in the description below. It's very, very enlightening to see how one of these toys comes together straight out of the box. It's harrowing at times watching Brian assemble this thing, but
snapping all the stuff together. Geez, I can imagine.
It might further your appreciation of the toy, or it might diminish your appreciation of the toy. One or the other. I think it will affect you to see it come together. So
Well,
yeah,
I'm
check it out.
definitely gonna check that out.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think it feels more like something I want now than before, where like I just dismissed most '90s vehicles as being like garage neon trash, essentially. Like this has
like
a certain
empty, yeah.
degree of not trashiness, I think.
Hey man, GI Joe had to play catch up in the 90s. Green Army men were no longer relevant. But what else are your 90s figures going to use as their main armor, if not the Brawler? Think about
Yeah,
it.
it's fantastic. I think it's really cool. So,
Alrighty.
what do we hate, guys? Or what does Steven like? Is Steven...
What I've turned around on, first up, I think it would be Barbecue Eco Warriors. Hey,
Barbecue.
Interesting.
this figure probably looks very familiar to you, Rob, because this is the Star Brigade payload, which was
Yeah.
everywhere in South Africa. Like every
Oh yeah,
CNA
you
stocked
couldn't
him.
not buy one. I think
Like
everyone
you've
owned
Not
got
one.
in
one.
Joburg.
I think I've got two.
Yes.
But this is the original use of that mold, and to date, the only version of barbecue in existence with a unique design. Like every other Gabriel Kelly takes, a chip off the old block and is the V1. It did it with Slaughters and Marauders, obviously, because it was just a straight up redeco. And then in the 25th anniversary, straight up version 1 reimagined for the 4 inches. And now, again, the awesome classified version is also just, it's V1 again. But like,
Mm.
and also, the Eco Warriors it's a great subset for me because it's so off the wall and invites really fun play. And how can this guy not invite fun play? He's the Eco Warriors firefighter. At least his squirty gun makes sense. He's actually squirting water. Zipline not included. Like the big drawback on this figure, apart from the fact that he looks particularly plasticky, is that he doesn't come with any additional accessories. He's only got the water bazooka and the backpack.
They should have changed that packaging. They obviously he was meant to come with it at some point.
Well, it's so curious that they depict him ziplining, and yet he doesn't come with any zipline equipment. They could have just repackaged Tomex and Zamots. But no. Meow, meow. Whoa, 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 whoa. Another
But-
toy that I've come around to... Sorry, Paul, you want to chime in on
No, I was just
barbecue?
gonna say he looks like a diver. Like he looks like he's from the abyss, from the movie, from the James Cameron movie.
Well, that's why he was so easily adapted to a space guy.
Star Brigade. Hmm.
Yeah. To the green one.
It's a good mold. I
payload.
enjoy him as payload, but I mean, it'd be interesting to see him with like a yellow visor.
It's just a different, it's an update of a classic G.I. Joe character, which is always an exciting thing. Like there are, within the 1982 to 1994 series, only a handful of those. Stalker with the kayak comes to mind, and there were later Stalkers, but like 1989 ripped the roof off. They gave us another Snake Eyes, another Rock and Roll Stalker. Zap got from the OG 13, Zap managed to escape obscurity and get used in the Supersonic Fighters. Well, out of the royalty that is Team 1985, Barbecue of all characters, the firefighter, got a different deco, shape, design, and while it will never outdo his Cylon, it's fun, and you've got a face finally to Barbecue, even though it's beneath a yellow face shield. I mean, you could pop that off, and a lot of cheap and cheerful ones online have the glass popped out and lost.
Looks like he's like Alpha. We need 5 teens with attitude.
Yeah. Red Ranger. Either that or it's some kind of like kinky suffocation helmet. I mean, where's his gas tank? What do they call it? Autoerotic asphyxiation.
Yeah.
Yeah, look that one up.
Oh, is
kids.
that what they call it? Sorry, I don't Google such things.
All right. The other thing that I've gone very sweet on is the Robo Skull. When I first
Interesting.
saw images of the Robo Skull, I thought this thing is so naff. What is it meant to go toe to toe with Sky Strikers? Like this is stupid. Like it's a flying skull in GI Joe or Action Force, and then it wasn't helped by the fact that I saw it in the Battle Action Force comics, and I'm like, these poor artists and writers, they've gone from writing, you know, the Germans as the enemy, who have Stuka dive bombers and 88 millimeter cannons, to having to work this stupid thing into their story. This and the Kraken. I mean, all these kind of sci-fi elements that the typically hard as nails, gritty realism of the Action Force comic books typically dealt with. You know, all of a sudden they've got to work in this shit. But how can you not look at its design and marvel? I think I'd gone sweet on it before the Robo Skull Mark II had been announced, and primarily thanks to the fact that it's been worked into like canonical Harmoniverse. Like the Robo Skull and the Red Shadows have appeared in Larry's books. He has written them in. He has acknowledged Action Force only toys,
That's
which is
cool.
yeah, very cool. So that kind of turned me onto it, and there's no going back now, guys. This is big news. Whether it's the original or the Mark II, beautiful design. Well done, Bob Breakin, back in the day. And the third thing that I've gone sweet on, the Steel Brigade.
Whoa.
I did not like the idea of green shirts in GI Joe. I like GI Joe all being named characters, but I cannot deny that the presence of a Steel Brigade in your GI Joe unit is vital, because there's certain things that GI Joe just never gave us. Not that I'm going to make a habit of army building these guys, but at least conceptually, having a Steel Brigade guy filling out the background or just occupying a gunning position or being a co-pilot, like they are the best shoe-ins for all of those roles and more. Just technical stuff, or a guy guarding an entranceway. You know, like you can't have named Joes doing all the guard duty. You got to get these peasants to do it for you. These faceless hordes of Steel Brigaders or Steel. What's the new name? Since Bobby's taken Steel Brigade, the trademark. Steel Battalion.
Still, but that sounds right.
I don't know. Anyways, I have come around on the idea of essentially green shirts in my GI Joe, and when they look this good, how can you not? It's a striking design. I see why Cujo always sang the praises of the humble Steel Brigade. It definitely has a mystique to it, even though it's the classic case of a Franken Joe. And that's me for my sweetness.
Damn.
Should we segue straight into my sour? No, I've spoken enough.
Rob,
Leave the
I want to
charge,
know
bro.
what you've soured on, actually.
Oh,
What have I
okay.
soured on? Well, it's
Yeah.
interesting. It's once again, it's thing. I think. Well, the theme of mine is essentially like variance, I suppose you could say. Where like once I preferred, say, well, no, maybe not superior, but I mean, I thought it was still an interesting version of the character. Where now I'm kind of like, I prefer the original or the other version. Actually, I think in both cases it's the original. So I always thought maybe the Tiger Force Flint was an interesting version of Flint, but I've kind of become not so interested with it. I really love the original coloring of Flint. I think they nailed it the first time around. And as a variation on him, and as part of the Tiger Force, at least to me, this doesn't scream Tiger Force. Like there's a bit of a, the patterning on his top, but not enough so to kind of go, oh, he's definitely Tiger Force, like the second you see him. And like the green pants to me just doesn't fit so well as the original coloring of the pants. So like I really, over time, I've kind of come to realize that they really did get it right the first time around. And you essentially could have taken this and maybe made the patterning on his pants more tiger-like, and then I think that would be a much better Tiger Force version of Flint than the actual Tiger Force version. Here's a nice still from an HCC video where you can see them compared side by side. I think the Tiger Force one, to me at least, looks more plasticky, and the original just looks more like an actual soldier that you'd see running around on the battlefield. Like they just did better coloring. They've obviously picked out more details, I think. I mean, especially if you look at the boots of the Tiger Force version, they've completely ignored the extra detailing on the original's boots. So he looks less complete than his original version was. So that's my first thing that I've kind of soured on is I suppose it's I've kind of like just realized how much more in favor I am of the original, but I've definitely soured on Tiger Force Flint of ever being interested in getting him. And then
it has its place, I guess. If you wanted to do a Tiger Force only display, you don't want to
for
use the
sure.
regular
But I
versions.
mean, I think he doesn't feel like Tiger Force either. Like I mean, the other guys have more interesting colors. It's more obvious that they're part of Tiger Force, and he just looks like he's like, I don't know. He doesn't feel enough like he's part of Tiger Force. It's like he was just that afternoon. They were like, "Hey, do you want to join us for a Tiger Force mission?" He was like, "Okay," and he, dyed his shirt a certain color, and they still had some of the black stripes on. And he was like, "That's good enough."
He's dragging his heels because he found out, like, he was like, "Oh, Tiger Force, who's in charge?" Duke.
Oh, come on, guys, put me in charge.
Exactly. How can we both be in this unit? Bloody hell.
It makes no sense. Oh, jeez. And then the other thing I've soured on, which is interesting because like it was the version of the character that I think we'd experienced most of our lives, and only later on did we get the original version, and that is Tunnel Rat. I always liked Sonic Fighter's Tunnel Rat because I think it's a cool version of the character. But then you kind of see the original look of the character, and you're like, that is so much cooler.
Never mind the fact that there's a Night Force version as well. Yeah.
And a Night Force version, absolutely. But I mean, I've specifically soured on the 90s version because I think Stephen, you had this forever as
Robbie.
kids, wasn't it?
No, my friend. You had the fun school version of Tunnel Rat.
Oh.
Who has a bright red shirt.
Yes. Okay, so maybe I've soured on the bright red version.
You've soured on your own toy. I find, like, just as a palette change that doesn't offend, I particularly like the Sonic Fighters Tunnel Rat. You know, cleans off the camo smears. So this is Tunnel Rat in a different setting, maybe.
Yeah, you could put him in like a city setting. I mean,
yeah, it's a perfectly serviceable alternate look.
Yeah, but I think they nailed it on this first version. I mean,
absolutely. Look,
I think once again, it's kind of like that the Flint color scheme. You know, the kind of the black and the tan and the kind of like the not tan. What's the color? Green on the top. I mean, this is just feels like a proper soldier. Well, I suppose the other version is more like a cartoon version of him.
Andrew wants us to not forget Tiger Force Tunnel Rat, but get out of here with your exclusives, man. Damn. What are the prices like on Tiger Force Tunnel Rat these days? Not as high as Outback, I suppose.
It's probably not, I'm guessing.
But close.
But yeah, so those are the two figures that I kind of like have fallen out of favor. I think I've just kind of... I think it's more a positive thing. Like I've just realized I really enjoy the original coloring of things more than I do often of repaints. I think probably the only exception at this point will probably still be Sneak Peek. I still think the Night Force version is the superior to the original version because he feels it feels more appropriate to what his function is on the battlefield.
What about Tiger Force Sneak Peek? He's actually got, like, I think his chest is totally tiger stripy. It's beautiful. Anyways, tangent. I don't need another exclusive Tiger Force actually, can we drop the word exclusive from the Tiger Force non-US versions? Because they weren't exclusive. They were only exclusive to people within the US. We got them. Europe got them. Great Britain got him. I've even learned that Australia got him.
Okay, so it's basically just US didn't get it.
They're not exclusives. They're not even Europe exclusives. They're available.
They're just international releases.
Yeah, and Tiger Force Blizzard, the desert banana boy,
I still love that though.
sand
I love
skiing.
it. I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
it.
Oh
Uh,
man. Are there any of your sour list that aren't repaints, Rob?
No, those are actually the only two that I came up with. I
Okay.
haven't really soured on anything else, unfortunately, or fortunately.
oh,
I
yeah.
still like most of the stuff that I've always liked. Um,
All right,
I try to
Paul.
like
You want
keep
to
it
go
to. I
next?
didn't want to like come up with reasons, I didn't want to like go. I guess I could add this on the list.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't want to like try to find something you didn't like. You just,
Yeah.
you
I
kind of
mean, I
had to
just
go
looked
with.
at things and I was like, actually, yeah, now I kind of do feel different about this thing.
Mm,
Well, that's probably the theme tonight. That like we are making the hard decisions. Like, can a repaint ever outdo its original? And I think I'm the exception to the rule in that my first reception of the Outback character was as Tiger Force Outback, and therefore the original is the
Yeah.
imposter. So the Tiger Force was the only version I wanted to seek out. But for everyone else, it's a real head scratcher. Like, yeah, it's nice and all, but why didn't you lead the classified version with the original? Well, they want to shift the repaint first because they know that you'll buy it if you don't have the original to compare it to. Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm.
So, Paul,
Paul,
what do you hate?
Coin toss.
Me,
Do you want to go
oof.
first? Do you want to go?
No, let me go because this will be pretty quick, actually.
Oh, wow.
See, because
okay.
Paul hates hardly anything. We all know.
Yeah,
this.
I
He
don't.
loves it
I don't
all.
hate a lot of stuff, but like there is one in particular that. So this is a GI Joe character, or should I say rather a Cobra character?
Oh my goodness, you hate Outback. No, Paul.
No, I'd say that, rather this is a Cobra character that for the longest time I dug and it made a lot of sense. I was like, yeah, this makes a lot of sense for this dude. But then as time has gone on and when I came up with this topic and I was like thinking of like stuff, this is the figure that popped out to me and I'm going to show you and reveal it on the podcast in 2 seconds. It is Hooded Cobra Commander.
Oh my
Not
goodness.
not the awesome YouTuber, but the toy.
You've soured on him. No.
I've
You
soured
and
on him.
Hasbro both. They don't. Touch
Yeah,
this
but
guy
like for different
anymore.
reasons. I understand why. Oh, when I say I understand, yeah, fine, okay. I work
What?
in.
That the hood is never coming back.
Oh, dude, it's just like, when you work in like advertising and marketing and all that stuff and you do graphics and whatever, there are certain things that are kind of sort of taboo depending on which region in the world you are, and then there's things that are international taboos. So I understand Hasbro kind of souring on the hood. I get that. Cool. Just the thing is for me is just that when I look at my Cobra Commander figures, and a lot of them come with variations, and I'm talking modern era here. When I look at the modern era GI Joes, I go, okay, you've got a variation. You can either wear the hood or you can wear the helmet. And my guys invariably always get the helmet. I just prefer it. It just works for me. It makes more sense. It's a look that just rocks. I mean, the hooded look is cool. I'm not saying it's shitty or anything. I really loved it when they did that Devil's Due sort of series where it was like GI Joe Reborn, and they've got that awesome Cobra Commander, and he is hooded and he's wearing the jacket, and that made for a fantastic sideshow figure, which is also just really awesome. But it had me pining for a helmeted Cobra Commander, and when I finally got one, it made sense. And when I finally got my own personal vintage helmeted Cobra Commander, I was like, this is amazing. And then when I had the opportunity to get a hooded one, I know this because it was sitting on bid or buy for a long time before I decided to click on it, and I actually missed out on it. I actually ended up buying mine from another source, and I bought it because I was like, hey, here's an opportunity to get one, not so much like, oh wow, I really want this toy kind of thing. And yeah, and it just says that like it to me it's just like I feel like I've soured on this design quite a bit. Like I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying my appreciation of it has dropped quite a bit in favor of the helmeted Cobra Commander.
Here
Which
on GI Joburg, we answered the important questions. Goggles or visor, hood or helmet, Tiger Force or regular. Guys, these are the identikits of like finding your like fellow tribe. Hey, like within GI Joe fandom, these are the questions you have to ask to like get a match.
This is where you split. Yeah, this is
This
where
is
the
where you
fandom
swipe
splits in these
right.
I mean, like, to stand up for this toy a little bit, I do appreciate that it isn't just a head swap. You know, like
Yeah.
there is stuff going on there, which is cool.
The
I also
deeper
like,
blue will always be lauded. Like people will always be like, why can't we have a helmeted version with that deep blue?
Yeah, the blue
I
is better.
am so happy we don't have that either. I'm just saying,
Okay.
Oh my
I don't
goodness.
like the dark
Paul
blue.
has gone over to the helmeted side. He
I
sees it.
just don't love navy blue in general, so it has to be like the right kind of dark blue for me to like
It's
it.
not
I'm
navy
very
blue,
particular.
it's Cobra blue.
Yes.
Yeah, like
There's a
yeah, I don't
difference.
know. I don't know. It's the thing, okay? And yeah, I do love that he's got a squidgy head though. So yeah.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
will fall
I,
will survive falls from the roof onto
yeah, yeah.
concrete as long
I
as he
mean,
lands on
we
his
gotta
head.
love that. And Andrew Creech had to. Oh, sorry. I mean, MCD. He mentions Star Brigade Cobra Commander for life. Hell yes, that Cobra Commander is super awesome with his suction cup play feature. I really got to get one of those in my life, dude. I that just makes so much sense. Can you imagine? Let's do like suction cup Cobra Commander to your Defiant. Thump.
And it would appear Tim has matched with you, Paul. He also
Excellent.
thinks dark blue sucks.
Yay! Thank you. I'm not alone, but like Steven says, find your tribe.
Mr. Swipe Right. Okay, Paul, what's
Yeah.
next?
No, that's it, dude. That's literally the only thing in GI Joe that I
Incredible.
used to be cool on and have soured on, because my opinion still hasn't changed on the Coastal Defender. It's still shit. It's still like unbelievably crap. I could have actually filled up my things that I've turned onto more. Like I could have added 3 or 4 more items to that easily, but disliking, no. It's you know, if anything, I've grown to love more of these GI Joe toys than to dislike.
Paul's just full of
anything.
love.
I'm
Yes,
full of
it's
the
not
love,
the
man.
kung fu way. You must love all.
Okay, well,
Until
I've
they
already
don't.
shat on Visor, Snake Eyes. Sorry. Never again. But I've also soured on the Transformers.
Whoa.
Like
just
all
all
of the
Transformers.
Transformers.
Like all the Transformers.
Oh my word, that is
wild.
wild.
It's crazy. You guys are like coming out with these like insane like things you soured on, and I'm like, I don't like the color of this figure.
Rob, that's totally
Like, there's
cool, my
like
dude.
there's like fundamental shifts in you guys are going on
There-
here, and I'm just
There
like,
was a time when G.I. Joe and Transformers were neck and neck for me. It could have gone either way. I was in my early 20s, as I said before in this very episode, I think. I had money of my own. I had unlimited internet access at the law libraries and UCT campus. And I trawled for images of old toys that I'd never seen before. And I was buying at a rate of knots vintage G.I. Joes and reissued Transformers. You know, alternating basically. Every other week it was a new fad. And as I say, it was neck and neck. I was all over the TFW 2005 boards, and I was all over his tank. I don't know what it was that pulled GI Joe out in front ultimately, but yeah, it has left Transformers in the dust, and Transformers has continued to fall further into the dust for me. I've not ever been enticed by any of the recent, at retail. You could go to a store in my town and buy Transformers at retail. You cannot do that with GI Joe, and yet I'm still not tempted. So clearly, Transformers has just fallen off my radar. I don't know what it
Wow.
is, but I guess I like what I like, and I like it so intensely that my focus is now laser.
You don't think that maybe it's because you're away from your collection? Don't think that that's maybe had something to do with it?
I think I don't understand the mechanics of playing with Transformers beyond the
Ah, right.
obvious transforming mechanic.
Right.
I don't know if I would orchestrate battles between my bots because, to be honest, the storyline never got compelling for me. That's what it comes down to. I mean, whether you're actively playing with your toys or you're just having the exercise of the imagination that we spoke about last episode, where you kind of go to bed dreaming up scenarios and adventures and interesting character interactions. That doesn't exist for me with Transformers because I don't think in my play pattern character was ever given much prominence.
Hmm.
It was just a bunch of gigantic robots battling it out endlessly. That was the extent of my playtime. And so, whereas G.I. Joe has had endless longevity because of the interesting mix of characters and their interactions, Transformers not so much. It was always just a gigantic battle royale.
If anything,
And
I think
here
I've
we
turned
go.
onto those toys even more now.
Bro, the
Yeah.
the availability is their biggest advantage, and I don't blame you. You are constantly greeted every time you go to a toy store by eye candy. I mean,
Right, yeah.
and there's a nostalgia buzz that I get from seeing like reimagined Beast Wars guys.
Oh,
I'm like, because that was my jam. We missed the G1 cartoon, but boy, we were there for the the Beast Wars generation.
Of course,
Um,
yeah.
And yet, yeah, I just can't pull the trigger, man. I just feel
Also-
like I wasn't getting much plastic. I look at Black Arachnia, she's terrific, but I'm like, that's all you get in the box. They even push her forward in the box to kind of try and give you the perceived value. And I'm like, there's nothing but empty box back there. They've given it this like false bottom to
I
just
know what
bring
you're
the,
talking
the
about
action
there,
figure
yeah.
forward. I'm like,
That's
there's
amazing.
nothing. There's nothing in this package. But that's just me being cheap. Which segues nicely to the other thing that I've gone sour on. The
Uh-oh.
Sky Striker.
Uh-oh.
Oh my goodness.
I saw a Facebook post by you the other day regarding this, and I was
Guys-
like, shots fired.
Absolutely shots fired. And I realized, like, as a voice in the community who has an unfair platform, that being this podcast, I don't want to go into the details of my souring because I don't want to ruin this for anyone else. It needs to be backed. It needs to be funded. We need to send the message to Hasbro that we want this stuff. But I don't. So, that's me, and I have, deeply personal to me reasons why I'm kind of sour on the Sky Striker, but I don't want to dissuade anyone else. So, like, I guess I won't talk about them till it's all said and done. But and also this is a week to week thing. Like my opinions on this toy are flip flopping very aggressively, back and forth. So I might be down on it this week. Something might be announced next week that turns me back onto it. But yeah, my reasons are multitudinous. And as I say, I don't want to undermine all the good work being done, particularly by a guy like Carson Metaxas of 3D Joes, who puts together a fantastic argument for why, like, you should be supporting this as best you can, as far as your dollar can stretch. And even if you want to flip them on the aftermarket to make your money back, like, just do it. Just pull the trigger, send the message to Hasbro that this is what we want. And that's how you get more stuff. That's how you get a reissue of the Whale that can accommodate both 3 3/4 inch figures and 6-inch figures, because they've upped the scale and they've got, new insert parts that allow it to be adaptable to 6 or 4-inch. Like, that's how we get these hypotheticals. That's how we get a classified series Histech. We've got to tell the big boys that only care about the bottom line in Hasbro, the bean counters, the big bosses, like, tell them that this project has merit and deserves more attention from them.
Maybe also remind them that it's possibly cheaper to make these than proton packs, and maybe that they should have had a 5,000 entry for these as opposed to the 7,000 stretch goal, whatever it is that the proton packs have. Anyway, just putting that out there. I think 10,000 is a bit harsh, to be fair, but yeah.
Look, I think it'll make all of its stretch goals.
I hope it does. I really do hope it does.
It's got 30 days to go, and it's halfway to the look. I have confidence in this project, confidence enough to know that, like, my drop in the ocean won't make a difference. I might eat those words later, I realize, but
No, I think for me, I just think the timing is very unusual and a little bit crappy, because think about it, like, you're only going to get docked, that cash is going to come off when it gets funded, and it's fully funded, I think, on the 14th of December or something like that, if memory serves. And that's when people are like saving their shekels for Christmas, and so like as people, we've become very instant gratification, and also with the way the world has become, online shopping has become quite prevalent. For guys to drop premium dollar on something that they're only going to get in a year and a half's time, and you're putting that Kickstarter out in Christmas, it's a very hard sell. So I am really hoping, like, if the Sky Striker makes it, or let's just say when the Sky Striker makes it, it's going to do so against some serious odds, because it's got a lot going against it in a lot of ways, like just in terms of its timing, because the product itself is amazing. And I know that you have some opinions on those, Steve, that you want to say for later. But I mean, there are more wins here than losses. So
I think we can get a hold of Hasbro and voice our concerns. Anything that we don't like with the digital render or the gray model that has been showcased, we can get our feedback to them before the cutoff, and they can address it. If they are indeed, listening to the community. Something that I love to make light of with Bobby's Action Force is that he was against the idea of butterfly joints for the shoulders. He didn't think that they added much, and yet the overwhelming support for butterfly joints, like, he had a poll, and he went that way because the fans demanded it. So similarly, if the team at the GI Joe HasLab are listening, we can shape this Kickstarter or this crowdfunding initiative. We can kind of have our say. And I would urge anyone who is on the fence, if you speak about it loudly enough on the boards, it seems like they do listen.
yeah, I mean, I think you even got a response, didn't you?
That more pictures would come out close to the time, but I'm not interested in the grayscale model or the gray, the pre-production model. I want to know how the digital renders are being adapted. I don't want to get into it.
Yes, I know. I'm sorry, and I keep inadvertently
But you've soured on
you
it
into
for
it.
now.
Anyways, that's, I think, all I need to say about the Sky Striker for now.
Well, we have certainly flipped and flopped all over this episode.
Yes, we're like a mishandled, super dildo here. We're just flipping and flopping all over the place.
Super lubed. Oh, man.
I was going to say like gymnasts, but okay. We're just, flipping and flopping and jumping around.
Gymnast. We'll probably get in trouble for saying gymnast. Nobody gets in trouble for saying flipping and flopping dildo on a podcast.
Very good. We've spoken about Scarlet and Ace's dome. We've spoken about what's underneath the hood, and now we're all about flipping, flopping dildos.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. GI Joburg, arming your children with all of the hard to answer questions.
Rob, goggles or
Yes.
visor?
Goggles or visor? I think I'm still on board with the visor. I think that's still definitely my jam. But I appreciate the goggles more. I like that he's a ninja, but I hear your argument that, once you equip a dude with a sword, there's only one other guy who's going to fight on the battlefield with that sword, and that makes a lot of
Helmet
sense to
or
me too.
hood?
I'm still a hood guy. I'm definitely a hood. I like them both, but I definitely lean towards the helmet. I mean the
Tiger
hood.
Force or regular?
Regular in general. I would say.
And with your outbacks?
Outbacks. I mean, definitely old man Outback. I
Get off my damn plane!
think.
All right, guys, this has been a bumper 223. The Joes we flipped on, or a game of sweet and sour. My name is Steve, and I am out of here.
And my name is Paul. Just reminding you that you can be part of our awesome live studio audience. Studio audience, he says. But you can be part of our live audience if you join the Berg Force. You can join these fantastically sexy and awesome human beings here.
Absolutely amazing people.
And
Thank you to everyone.
Thank you. And if you need to, you can pick up some of our merch from the link in the description below, which will take you to either the Patreon or the merch store. And I am desperately trying to get some new merch on the merch store, but it seems like the copyright detection has become quite smart There was a certain character design that I wanted to put up as a T-shirt, and I got flagged immediately. And I don't blame them. They're obviously having to protect themselves. But yes, it is a little bit tricky. So whatever I have on the merch store is what I have.
Add a couple of
And
more feathers to that character, dude.
I think I need to
Like a
add a
boa.
couple of more. Yeah. I need to add a few more feathers or change his face or something. Anyway, so you can, if you want to support the channel, that's how you can do it. But the easiest way to support the channel is to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell and all those good things. But mostly, just like and comment, man. We love hearing from you guys. It's always cool to check out our comments and to, see get some of the questions that you guys put up there. Some of you guys have even inspired topics. So yeah, please feel free to comment. It's awesome when you do. And yeah, man, just a reminder to keep playing with your toys, guys.
Heck
keep it
yeah.
real.
Keep
Yeah.
doing it. Play with your hooded toys.
Or your helmeted ones.
Or your helmeted ones, yeah.
Or your helmeted ones, whatever,
Cool, guys.
Yo, Joe. No, I'm not gonna. This harmony
It's a
sucks.
bit enchanting.
It should sound right.
Pretty art job.